Oh, I can't believe it's over. What a belting end to the Six Nations. France winning the first Grand Slam in 12 years. And what about Italy? First win since 2015 in Cardiff. Pinot was penalised. Why was he penalised? Should Noel have been penalised? And now then, maybe one you weren't all expecting. Bit of a quiet assassin, and I hope has put that argument to bed. Anyway, let's get into your Emirates fans questions. Plenty to come. First one comes from Johnny Connell. Nigel, how hard is it not to show unconscious bias towards a team that have been reduced to 14 or fewer players? Johnny, it's not hard at all, because when you're out in the field, you just got to concentrate and do your job. You do feel for teams. You realise sometimes you feel a team has been down to 14 men. So no, you just do your job, Johnny. That's what you're there to do. So no, it's not difficult. It doesn't take any great pleasure in refereeing a team down to 14 men, but you just get on and do it. I like this name, Exotic Carmel. Where did you get this name from? Does Italy deserve to stay in the Six Nations? Should we revert back to the Five Nations tournament? The answer to the first part is yes, 100% yes. And should we revert back to Five Nations? No, why should we? It works perfectly as it is, very enjoyable. And in all fairness to Italy on the weekend, I thought they played some brilliant rugby, were deserved winners over Wales, although I was very disappointed myself. And that last try they scored was absolutely brilliant. So they definitely deserve to be there. And I hope it's put that argument to bed once and for all. What stadium have you found it most difficult to ignore the crowd? Oh, I ignore the crowd every stadium, no matter what it is. But you certainly do hear them, especially in South Africa and out in France, because they really do let you know if they don't agree with your decisions. Who do you think will win the Women's Six Nations this year? Will it be England again? Oh, do you know what? I think it will be between England and France, and that comes down again to the last weekend. Could France do the double this year, men's and women? I think they may. It's going to be close. I want to know if a 10-point try can be scored by regathering your own drop goal, touching down, and then converting it. That's a good one, Rob, but the answer is no, because once you drop the goal and you get the points, what happens then? You have to have a restart, which is on the halfway line. What is the entire rule on marking the ball, and at what age group can you do it? Harry, you got me now. The rule on marking the ball is you must call mark simultaneously, which is the same time as you catch the ball in your own 22. But you can be in the air, you don't have to be on the ground like it used to be years ago. That is the rule of calling a mark, and it has to be direct from an opponent's kick. Whatever age group that you're allowed to start to kick the ball, that's when you're entitled to call the mark. I think I got out of that one, all right, didn't I? Nigel, when are you coming out of retirement? Tobias? Never. I've retired. But you never know. I suppose never say never. I'm still going to referee locally. I still referee some local games, so I'm not completely retired. Dogs. Right then, time for whistle watch. There's quite a few talking points this week, so let's get into them. Let's go to the Grand Slam game in Paris. France-England. Big talking point for everybody in that game. Pinot was penalised. Why was he penalised? Should Noel have been penalised? Very, very interesting one. Right. What is Pinot and Dupont allowed to do? What they're allowed to do is they're allowed to run back towards a ball that's in the air to either compete for that ball or to go back into position to support the player who's going to catch the ball or to receive the pass. Pinot can't change his angle to obstruct. But to be fair to Pinot and to Dupont here, I can't see them committing offence. They are doing what they are quite entitled to do in the laws of the game. They are just running back in the natural line. So should Noel be penalised? Well, the simple answer to me here is yes, he should have. I think Noel here could have done a lot more to avoid the contact in the air. So the simple answer is no penalty against Pinot for me, and a penalty or a yellow card, whichever one you feel necessary, against Noel for the contact in the air, because I think he could have done more to avoid that situation. Wales-Italy then. Welsh player tackles Italian supporting player Paolo Garbisi when he doesn't have the ball. Now then, is this a penalty? Yes, it is. the Welsh player has taken out a would-be supporter, so which means the ball carrier cannot now pass to this guy. The Italian player who's been illegally taken out is not in a position to help compete with that ball. Dewi Lakes, tap and go with no tap. What is the rule, or what is the law here? Well, the law is, when you put the ball on the floor for a penalty or a free kick and you want to take it quickly or you want to tap and go, you have to tap the ball through the mark. So it has to touch your foot. If it doesn't touch your foot, it means the ball is not back in play. So therefore the referee was quite right in calling the player back. Wyn Jones disallowed try. Now then, this is a very, very interesting one. Of what the referee asked and the footage that they saw, they gave the right decision. But the question here is, was it the right question to ask? Should the referee have asked, my on-field decision is a try, and then have clear evidence to overrule it otherwise, rather than that way around? Because the philosophy in refereeing is, benefit of the doubt goes to the attacking side. So, to me, it looks like Wyn Jones has scored. So that for me, the question to be asked should have been, on-field decision is a try, let's check it. Right then, let's go to Ireland, Scotland. Schumann try, potential double movement or not. Now then, if you're tackled, you are allowed then to immediately place the ball on or over the goal line to score a try. Or, if you're tackled and your momentum moves you, then you are not doing a double movement because it's your momentum that is carrying you. Now, in this instance here, it looks like Schumann is tackled short. He then propels himself forward rather than reach forward. And for me, it looks like it's double movement. So in this instance, I would say Schumann is very lucky to be awarded that try. Schumann involved again, this time forearm. What you can do in rugby is to hand off. If you're running and you're handing a player off as you're running towards him, as long as you're handing him off, then you're fine. But if you're using the palm of your hand to do that action rather than a handoff, or sometimes player goes to hand off, he gets it wrong and the forearm or the elbow catches him, then that is an offence. So by doing that, he's lifting his elbow up illegally, and if that makes contact with the head of a throat, then it should be a penalty offence at least. Conor Murray bonus try. People are asking, should this ground even be checked? Well, first of all, if the referee is in a position to clearly see the try has been awarded, he will award the try. Now, what happens in the background, the TMO will be checking everything. If he doesn't have any evidence to suggest otherwise, then they will carry on with the conversion and the try stands. Right then, time for now my Six Nations dream team. Many of you have been asking, what's my team for the Six Nations this year? The top performers, here it goes. I've had to write this down because I'll never remember them all. Full back, Hugo Keenan, Pinot, Fico, Dante. I think the back line in France have been brilliant. Then I'm going to go for Josh Adams. I think he's played really well in some poor performances by Wales, but he stood out. Intermac at 10, no doubt about 9, the best player in the world. Dupont, Genge at 1, Marchanard at 2, Furlong at 3, Itoje, his work rate is immense, never has a bad game. Woki for France has been brilliant. Lamora, the Italian captain, he was absolutely brilliant all tournament and exceptionally brilliant against Wales. Aldrit, the French number 8, he has been outstanding, key to the French success. And now then, maybe one you weren't all expecting. Bit of a quiet assassin, gets on with the game very quietly, but does the important work. Josh van der Flier from Ireland for me, he has been outstanding. Well, there we have it. France crowned, deservedly so, Grand Slam winners Six Nations 2022. That's it from Whistle Watch. It's been emotional, but all good things must come to an end. Or not, because this Saturday the Six Nations Women's Championship is kicking off. Looking forward to watching that. But for now, that's it from me. But don't forget to subscribe and like. It will make me a very happy man.